Reira, mihi ana kia tātou katoa hei timata ake I tā tātou wāhi nei, ka timata I te Karakia, no reira, kia hihiri ake tātou. Mana wa mai e te putanga o Puanga, mana wa mai e te putanga o Matariki, mana wa mai e ngā Ariki o te rangi, mana wa mai e te matahi o te tau, whano, hara mai te toki, haumi e, hui e, tai ki e. Kei waku nei ki waku rahi, a tēnā rā tātou katoa ko hono mai, a ki tēnei tūmomo tū wāpapa kōrero, ko ngā mihi o Puanga o Matariki te rere atu nei. Ko au ko koe, ko tātou I tēnei rangi mokopuna, koutou no tawhiti, koutou no tata, tēnei ka mihi atu ki a koutou katoa. Welcome to all who have joined us this morning. My name is Riri, I'll be your host for this morning. Our Practice Foundations team, Kelly, Penny and Lee, extend a warm welcome to you all who will be in the background doing all the driving today. You may or may not see them, but they are there working their magic. So ko rātou ko ngā ringa, ko ngā waiwai o te kaupapa nei, tēnei ka mihi atu kia koutou katoa. So our purpose for our Practice Foundations today is we have an online, for those that are new, our Practice Foundations is an online monthly community of practice for public sector teams doing ambitious and complex mahi, co-hosted by Auckland Co-Design Lab and Healthy Families Far North. In our session, we share practical tools, insights and examples of how whānau-centred and mātauranga-led ways of working are making a real difference for whānau and hapori across Aotearoa. We've got, in addition, something, especially it being a tauhou for us te ao Māori, we've got an addition that we're going to talk to, which is our tikanga. Our tikanga, which is going to pop up with a bit of a little bit of a show we've got. So just an addition that we wanted to add this morning is to talk to our tikanga that we have, and our tikanga talks to the practice foundations that what we want to be committed to. This has been drafted up and completed by our team, by Angie, Eruini and Ricky Lee from the CoLab team. So we talk about the 4 po that we've got of our tikanga. We have mana whenua, so acknowledging our relationships and responsibilities to whenua and honouring the role, leadership of mana whenua. We have mana mātauranga, so honouring the Indigenous knowledge systems, our mātauranga Māori, staying aware of our position and engaging with care. Our mana tangata, upholding the mana of others by contributing to a respectful, safe and supportive space for all participants. Our mana kaupapa, our last one being contributing in ways that uphold our kaupapa rather than for personal gain, profit or commercialization. So if we can all just take note of our tikanga that we have for our Practice Foundations, those are our 4 po of tikanga. We'd like to acknowledge that this is a difficult time for many people, and we'd like to acknowledge and encourage to support everyone to take care of yourselves and each other as much as you can. We hope to find coming together today is restorative, and so Kelly is here. If you have any questions, any issues or concerns that you'd like to raise, feel free to reach out. We also want to let everyone know that we won't be allowing any AI bots like Read AI to attend these sessions. This is in order to keep this a safe space place for our people to connect. If you're unable to attend, most of our sessions are recorded and will be watched online. So let's talk about the rhythm, our rhythm today, and our purpose. So in Te Ao Māori, one of the gifts of Matariki Puanga is the invitation to pause, reflect, and recalibrate for the seasons ahead. In this session, we have Eruini Hawke that will explore how teachings of Matariki can help us become more conscious of where we invest our energy, our time, reconnect with natural rhythms, and cultivate sustainable practices that support well-being, balance, and longevity in both our personal and professional lives. So, what does that look like for our session today? The 90 minutes will consist of whakawhanaunga with small breakout groups as we normally do. Then we'll hand the rākau kōrero to Eruini to talk about the kaupapa. Then we'll have some time to talk amongst ourselves in our breakout groups, and then we'll end with some wānanga time where we come together in our whole groups to have a kōrero and share some pātai. So, for our whakawhanaunga tanga session, for the first part of it, is that we've got one pātai. So our pātai this morning is, we ask you to introduce yourself, and the pātai is, what does Matariki mean to you? Now, depending on where you sit or where you are, it may be puanga. So, what does Matariki mean to you, or what does puanga mean to you? Let's drop into our breakout groups and let's discuss that as a group. Ka pai. Well, tēnā tātou anō. I'm just going to introduce our. So we've got a kai kōrero. He's not new to our sessions, but we have our special guests such as Eruini Hawke, he Ngāti Whātua, he Ngāti Mahuta, he Ngāti Ranginui, he Ngāti Awa, he Ngāti Pikiao, me Ngāti Maniapoto. He is a Mātauranga Māori capability lead at Auckland Co-Design Lab. He has over 20 years of experience in environmental spaces. He has a strong foundation in Te Ao Māori, inclusive of Te Reo Māori me ona tikanga, Kōrero tuku iho, and Mātauranga a iwi, and he ensures that his work is always guided and informed by the teachings of his tupuna. Ka tukuna te rākau kōrero ki a koe Eruini, nau mai hoki mai e te mātanga tukuna wai kōrero. Kia ora rā.
Tēnā koe, Riri. Ko koe tērā, ia hui ngā tangata o Practice Foundations e whakatau ana, e whakamahanahana i a mātou i roto i ngā mahi o e nei hui, e kore ngā mihi e mutu ki a koe te tuahine. Tēnei te mihi atu ki a tātou katoa ko hui mai i tēnei ata, mo tēnei kaupapa kōrero mata ariki. Mōrena. So, Matariki. I hope everybody had an awesome sharing session this morning, expressing what Matariki means to you. Tētahi paku kōrero mai ia hau. What does Matariki mean to me? Matariki is definitely a beautiful time to gather together with whānau, to look towards the season that we've just had, and reflect on a lot of the kaupapa lessons and teachings that we experienced in order to set our vision forward to the seasons coming. Matariki for me is definitely a time of gathering with whānau, sharing space and time with each other, whether that's over kai or just hanging out in the many spaces that we share as a family. Kia ora. Tēnā koe Kelly, can we hit the next slide, please? Ka pai. Kura whakaaio ki te rangi, he kōmata whakanui ki te whenua, ko Hawaii ki nui, ko Hawaii ki roa, ko Hawaii ki rangi, e taunei. A mohia ake te oro o te iwi, ka puta ki te whaiau ki te ao mārawa. Manawa māia te puanga o Matariki, manawa māia te ariki o te rangi, manawa māia te mātahi o te tauhau Māori, manawa māia te pai herenga, whāno, haramai te toki, atahua ki rangi, haumi e hui e, tai ki e. Next slide, please, Kelly. Tēnā tātou. So, within Te Ao Māori, Matariki is not only a celebration of or a marking of the new year, it is also a time of pause, reflection, recalibration, and intention setting. The teachings connected to Matariki offer practical guidance for how we live every day, personally, professionally, and also spiritually. Matariki reminds us that well-being is not simply about achievement or productivity, but it's more about balance, rhythm, awareness, connection, and sustainability. So this morning's presentation will explore some key teachings that we can apply to our everyday life in order to become more centered, to become more conscious of where we spend our energy and time and maintain a state of being that has longevity in both our personal and professional lives. Ne? Okay, next slide, please, Kelly. I tiro hakamuri kia anga whakamua. Look to the past to move forward. He tino whakaaro Māori tēnei ne. Matariki invites people to reflect before rushing into the next season. In te ao Māori, clarity doesn't come from constant movement. It comes from remembering. It comes from observing and understanding what has already occurred. Anā, traditionally, Matariki was also a time to reflect on the year that has passed, acknowledge lessons, honour those who have passed on, and prepare intentionally for the seasons ahead. Reflection creates clarity before action, ne? So our tupuna observed and reflected before entering a new season, and longevity comes from rhythm, it doesn't come from speed. This idea is deeply embedded in the Māori understanding, in the Māori worldview of understanding time. Time is not linear in the way it is often framed in Western thinking. Instead, the past isn't really behind us, in a distant sense. It's more so in front of us because it's visible, it's known, and it's also able to guide us. And the future, by contrast, is behind us because it's unseen, it's yet to be revealed. This is why reflection isn't a passive process in te ao Māori. It's very directional. And it is how we navigate forward safely. So Matariki becomes a seasonal marker for this process. He tohu o te wā, it signals a time when the previous year is acknowledged fully. It isn't bypassed, it isn't rushed through, but more so it's properly seen. And this includes remembering those who have passed, acknowledging the lessons of the year, and releasing what no longer serves us. That's a really key part of Matariki for me, the ability to tuku, the ability to release practices that no longer serve us. Ne? So rather than constantly chasing productivity, this whakaaro reminds us to create moments of intentional stillness. Now, anei te tahi pātai mo tātou. And you don't have to answer it to the room, but just reflect upon yourself. Do you currently have a time slot booked out in your calendar for intentional stillness? I take one 15 to 30-minute break every day to play taonga puoro, whether I'm in the office or I'm out on site with my team, and this practice helps me to still my mind. The repeated practice allows me to build a rhythm. The rhythm brings me into balance. The balance brings me longevity and a sense of peace and calm. Another way that I practice intentional stillness is in my mara or in my garden. So throughout the year, and depending on my crops rotation, I intentionally stop fertilizing. I intentionally stop planting and intervening. Because rather than trying to maximize productivity, I allow the garden to rest. During this period, the soil begins to recover. Insects return, birds return, microbes continue their work beneath the surface, volunteer plants emerge, and natural relationships in the soil start to become visible. Personally, I don't see this time as a time that is unproductive. I see it as a time of listening. That pause gives me something that productivity could never give me. It gives me clarity. I begin to notice crops that have self-seeded, which native plants naturally appear in the soil, where moisture is retained in the soil, which insects are thriving, and what the soil is telling me about the coming season. So instead of forcing the next cycle, I let the environment help shape my decisions. This is one example of looking to the past to move forward. Anā, Matariki reminds us that not every season is for doing. Some seasons are for observing, my mara teaches me the same lesson. If I rush into planting without first understanding what's happened, I risk repeating the same mistakes. But when I pause, patterns become visible, the garden reveals what it needs, and my role shifts from controlling the system to working in relationship with it. My mara reminds me that balance isn't something I create, more so it's something that I stop interrupting. Next slide, please, Kelly. Te taiao, te taiao te tauira. So the natural world is our first teacher, and Matariki is deeply connected to environmental observations. For eons, people looked to the stars, to the winds, to the waters, to the seasons, and the cycles of nature to guide planting, harvesting, rest, and preparation. Nature teaches us balance. So, as previously mentioned, there are seasons for growth, there are seasons for action, there are seasons for gathering, and there are seasons for rest. Te Ao Māori reminds us that humans are not separate from these cycles. The teaching asks us to stop expecting ourselves to operate at maximum capacity all year round. Instead, we can reorganize our own internal season, protect our energy like a precious resource, understand when to push forward and when to slow down, and learn the difference between urgency and importance. Sustainable well-being comes from alignment with natural cycles, not constant output. And if we look closely into the taiao, into the environment, there are many examples of this. The ngahere doesn't grow continuously, and many of us might not be aware of that. Many native trees, they slow their growth during winter, conserving energy before the spring flush. The moana teaches us rhythms through the tides. And if you're a keen fisherman, you might already know this, kōrero. But we have always known as tangata moana that there are times to cast the net and there are times to leave the water alone. When we look to the rangi, to our manu, birds, they don't spend all year nesting. They have seasons for breeding, for feeding, for molting and migration. And when we look to rangiatea, the stars, and especially Matariki, mark the transition between one cycle and the next, reminding people to review the past before preparing for the future. So every part of the taiao understands rhythm. And it seems to be ira tangata or humans that believe that we should operate at full capacity every day of the year. And e he ana tēnā. So one of the most important insights from Matariki is the acceptance of cyclical living. So modern systems often prioritize continuous output, constant productivity, constant availability, constant growth. But natural systems, they don't behave this way. They operate in cycles of emergence, like springtime with growth. They operate in cycles of abundance, like in the summertime. They operate in cycles of harvest, like in the autumn. And they also operate in cycles of rest, which is the winter restoration. So Matariki sits in this rhythm as a moment of pause, a sort of threshold between seasonal cycles. Ko te taiao te tauira. Next slide, please. So as we well know, in life, sometimes we ask ourselves, how can I maintain maximum output? Whether that's with our work or with our families and our kids, finding time to to do all the sports activities with the children or with self, making time to get to the gym, trying to be in the garden, trying to get everything done. How do we achieve this? Well, my answer in the past would have been with massive amounts of caffeine, sugar, and often little sleep, grinding on the wheel 24/7. And to be honest, this leads us to exhaustion, and I've experienced that a couple of times in my life. Instead, we might want to ask ourselves, what season am I in right now? Am I in the rest season? Am I in a productive season? Am I in the harvest season? Is this a time for building, or is this a time for consolidating? Am I forcing growth when rest is needed? What would alignment with my environment look like today if I lived in rhythm with our environment? So at work, in teams and workspaces, um, sometimes we fail, not because there's a lack of effort, but because we ignore the cycles of recovery. Ne? So Matariki invites a different type of leadership model, one that pays attention to timing, to readiness, and to the natural pacing of the environment. So well-being comes from alignment with natural cycles, not from constant output, but also from recognizing that different parts of life move at different rhythms. And it's important to live in the rhythm. Our well-being is sustained through relationships, and Matariki is a communal time. It's a time for sharing kai, a time for remembering loved ones, reconnecting with whānau, and strengthening relationships and gathering together. Anā, in te ao Māori, a person is not truly well when in isolation. In te ao Māori, true well-being is relational and can be an everyday application. This teaching encourages us to become more conscious of who and what receives our attention and our energy. One of the things I really love about Matariki is that the celebration isn't centered around buying something or even achieving something. It's centered around gathering, sitting around the table or around the fire pit, sharing kai, telling stories, kōrero about those who have passed, laughing together, crying together, and reconnecting with people that we haven't seen for ages. Matariki allows us a time and space to be able to do that intentionally. On the surface, this can seem quite simple, but these moments replenish something that no amount of productivity ever could. It's important for us to look within, reflect, in order to manaki ourselves. Looking after others is great and it's wonderful, but we first need to manaki ourselves first. Ne? He kaupapa tino nui tēnā, te hauora o te tangata. It's really important to remember to take care of you. Next slide, please, Kelly. Mahi kai prawa. So this is an everyday application. These teachings encourage us to become more conscious of who and what receives our attention and energy. So we can invest energy into relationships that restore and uplift, which is a beautiful thing. We can also create boundaries around environments that deplete our wairua. We can prioritize connection over constant extraction and performance. And also recognize that well-being is strengthened collectively. And when we're doing this, we invite our whānau to do the same thing. And when we find ourselves restoring our well-being, and we see that reflected in our whānau, in our friends, and the people that we share our time and space with, that manakitanga, that hauora is almost amplified, ne? seeing our whānau flourish, seeing our whānau be able to take time to rest, and also doing the same, we can mirror that energy and amplify that energy. Because a sustainable life isn't built alone. And Matariki teaches us that success without balance, without connection or well-being, isn't true prosperity, ne? Because connection doesn't simply support resilience, it creates it. Now, these teachings, they're not separate ideas, they're interconnected. Reflection shapes how we see the world. The natural world teaches us how we move through it. And relationships determine whether we can sustain that movement. Matariki holds all of these together in a single reminder. Live in relationship with time, with place, and with people. Next slide, please, Kelly. So we have whāngai, we have whakamimiti, and we have ukauka. And these kupu are related to an exercise that we will go into shortly. But whāngai is around what feeds us. Whakamimiti speaks to what drains us. And uka speaks to what can sustain us. So it's important to note that within many iwi traditions, Matariki is understood as the mother star who married Rehua, the atua of healing and well-being. Together, they are said to have brought forth the stars of the Matariki cluster. Now, I'm aware that in recent years, there's been just an explosion of mātauranga Māori around Matariki and the stars. So I won't go into naming all of them right now, but each star represents a different part of the natural world, reminding us that well-being in Te Ao Māori is deeply relational. Again, our health is inseparable from the health of the environment, our relationships, our ancestors, and our communities. Matariki, therefore, offers more than a seasonal celebration. It provides nurturing connection and sustaining well-being through our relationships with people, with place, and with the natural world. So the following exercise is designed to help us become more conscious of where our energy goes, identify what restores us, identify what depletes us, and reflect on what creates long-term sustainability and balance in our life. Just doing a quick check because my internet has been a bit fickle. Did everyone catch that?
Yep.
Kapai. Awesome. Kapai. So the next couple of questions for our breakout room exercise. So take 3 to 4 minutes to reflect paper or open a notes app. Jot down some kōrero, some whakaro. I really emphasize that we all make a solid attempt to participate in this kaupapa. And if it doesn't feel appropriate for you to share within your breakout rooms, kei te pai tēnā. As long as you're able to step through these 3 questions with self in order to really apply some of the teachings of Matariki to self, ne? So we can see up there on the shared screen, what feeds you? What genuinely gives you energy? An example of this from me, what feeds me is definitely being in the environment, being in the garden space, being in the bush, being close to the ocean. That's something that definitely lifts my mauri. What drains you? What consistently takes your energy away? And me whakapono e, one of the things that does that for me is sitting in traffic. And one of the ways I try to negate that is by listening to music, and not just the radio. Not just listening to chatter and music that's forced through the sound waves in order to create putting music onto us because they want us to buy it. I'd rather engage with music that speaks to me in my current state of being. And question number 3, what sustains you? And not the quick relief stuff, but actual sustainability. And an example of what sustains me in my life, going back to the taio, going back to the environment, having time and space and with intention to spend to express myself in the taio, whether that's walking, swimming, any of those things, ne? Kei a koe te tikanga, kei a koe ngā whakaaro. So when we return to the main room, we can place one word or one sentence into the chat for each question. And we'd also like to invite a few volunteers to share back verbally. No pressure, kei a koe te tikanga.
Tēnā koutou, no mai, hoki mai. Everyone's back. Just in the meantime, just as we've got some music in the background playing, for those that had great conversations, had beautiful gems to talk about, please jot that in the chat so that we can pick on you. Nah, jokes. Just jot it down in the chat so we can see what it is that you all had a conversation about. What were the gems, all of those kinds of things. We'll give it about a minute or two for everyone to jot those in. Don't be shy, please, and just jot it in. And so we can see if you've got any partai throughout the session, this morning's session, just jot it in the chat, and then we can put it forward to Eruini to see if he's able to answer it or not. Some beautiful reflections, some good kōrero going on here. Trying to get through them all. Just everyone's so fast. We see there was a bit of a connection. Yeah, got you singing in the office. Kia ora. Love that. Spread that energy. Just while I'm still going through some of the kōrero that's in the chat forum, has anyone got any partai that you'd like to share? We've got roughly about 10 to 11 minutes to have a share a space where we this wānanga period as we can ask questions or share some whakaaro, some insights as to what you've learnt whilst having these moments of reflection, of holding space and so on and so on. Anyone would like to share any kōrero? We've got a few here. We've got Materia talking about listening to your own tinana. And it's the simple things: managing time, maintaining a routine, communication, having buzzy moments with others, and sharing energy amongst other people. Some high energy people, some low energy people. Seems to be some sort of connection. I think it was when I read about the Invercargill team. He's all ended up together for some reason, and he's all on the same routine of exercising or your well-being. Everyone happened to be in the same space. Beautiful kōrero. Any partai? Must have scared everyone away. Or was it my internet? No, it's not my internet. It's just everyone's scared to share. Any other kōrero, Helma? There's no wrong answer. Everything's right. Ka pai, he pātai tā ihi pera, Eruini, anei te pātai ki a koe. I hear a lot of, where did it go? I hear a lot of kōrero, re Matariki being connected to harvesting. But what's the actual whakaaro about this?
Ora, whenā koe me tēnei pātai. Um, so, yeah, when we think about the kupu harvesting, we can quickly aro towards harvesting kai, ne? So yeah, what is the whakaaro around this? Traditionally, the Mara wasn't producing a lot of kai during the winter season. A lot of that harvesting happened in the previous seasons, and you would stock up the pātaka kai for those harsh winter months. More so, I believe the harvesting that we're speaking to here for Matariki speaks to the removal of anything that grew inside of your internal mara that you no longer need to give energy to now. So it's almost like the weeding process of removal. And one of the cool things that I've experienced in my years of working in the ngahere and in the garden, you can harvest weeds, you can chop and drop them physically and internally, and convert that reflection time and that harvesting of the things that you no longer require in your internal garden, and put them into a compost heap, an internal compost heap, and break that down. And in that reflection process, this is what you're doing. You're looking back into the past, you're looking at the choices you have made, the experiences that you went through, and you're picking out and removing and analyzing and converting all of those learnings into growth, into soil that can teach you, that can help you to progress forward in order to sustain yourself. So in my hinengaro, a lot of how I express and internalize what I'm going through is I envision myself as being a plant in the garden. And when I do an internal harvest, I'm identifying the different lessons I've learnt, and they're personified as different plants in my garden space, like internally. And the ones that are still growing, I leave, and the ones that have had their time with me in my soil, I harvest and remove. I hope that answers your question, Ehua.
Love that. Love that kōrero. Does anyone else got any other kōrero that you'd like to ask Eruini whilst he's here? Wama, tukuna mai ngā pātai. Aye, composting is what's not working for Marissa.
And
Any other
it's a
pātai?
skill. It's a muscle that needs to be trained. Oftentimes, as ira tangata, as humans, we can hold on to a lot of stuff, and it's important to harvest and convert those weeds, so to speak, into the compost heap, so that we can transform that mauri into something that can help to sustain us and not drain us.
Kia ora. Let's hear from Hemi Waitaiki. Hemi, would you like to share some kōrero? And Micah?
Sure. Can do,
Micah's clapping.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to call out Mike after this. But kia ora, tēnā tātou te whānau. I really resonate with the kōrero today. And I think what I was thinking of, there's themes of self-patience and even compassion coming through, because I think, inside of the environment that we're conditioned by, that constant need for productivity is a belief that you take on from your environment, and because of that, you try to act in line with that and conform yourself to that. When in reality, you might need a time of rest when you're trying to be productive, or vice versa as well. Some people are productive late at night, have really good ideas and that sort. So, that really resonated with us in our rōpū. Just that point of awareness, kind of to step back from unhealthy modern ways of thinking, I would say, and tap into the mātauranga no mai rā no. So yeah, I'll just leave it there. Micah will pick up on anything else.
Anā tōku kai ne te hohi pera, te pāhi hohi pera ki a koe. Kia ora koutou, ngā mihi nui ki a koe, Eruini i tēnei kōrero whakairahira. Ngā mihi nui ki a koe hoki i hiriri. Ai pai te kōrero, our group had a great kōrero. Whakawhāngai, what feeds us, good people, good kōrero, time alone. Whakahikoi kuri, going to the ngahere. Etahi o ko Megan, he hapu ia, ke te hapu ia. So just good kai feeds her, sustains her. Whakamimiti, what drains us, just kōrero kino, maybe like gossiping, and people that are constantly needing to be fulfilled, and sort of like Wahimi said, performative relationships, and just stepping away from that as a part of uka uka for us and sustaining etahi kōrero hāngai puana ki te karakia i te ata, karakia i te pō, that's sustaining. What else? Just taking time for ourselves and reflecting. But my big takeaway from this is that it's not a Māori whakaaro to be going, and mena ka tātou katoa ki te maramataka, you know, there's a wāwhiro, and then there's a time to be productive, and I think that's something that I'm only really learning in these last couple of years, and it allows us to give ourselves grace as well, and I think that's really beautiful. Ahua honu tēnei kōrero ne e hioi pai.
Tēnā koe patu pai ngā kōrero. Patere pai ana ngā whakaaro noki. Tēnei au e mihi nei ki a koe e ko. Naru ngā no i o whakaaro i o kōrero ko patere mai waingana i a tātou. And kei te tino hiko ngā whakaaro naru ngā no i wai kōrero. So it's really, you can really... you can see based on what the stuff that you're talking about, Micah, you see that a lot in the offices, or a lot of expectations, especially on those that are high energy people that normally give a lot and don't really get that time to reflect or time to adjust to things. So mehena ki a koe me rā kōrero. Eruini, he kōrero hei apiti atu ki wana?
He mihi, kia kaurua i tāko hamai i nā whakaaro i nā kōrero. He tino pai ki te rongo i nā kōrero i tēnei ata. E tāpiri ana ki tō tātou kaupapa o Matariki. Ngā mihi.
I'm seeing a lot of love hearts happening. I think it's all connecting. Everyone's it resonates. All the kōrero that's been shared this morning is really connecting and resonating with people.
Kia ora.
I see a lot of people. Yeah.
I'll share on behalf of our team. So what feeds us? So in a roundabout way, everything kind of aligned. So of course what feeds us is our whānau. Someone mentioned particularly mokopuna over Tamariki. They've had their bit, and so we can just expel all our sunshine on our mokopuna, who are just amazing and always feed us. There are things that we personally do that resonate with us. Being in nature, dancing, and taking the dog for a walk, and just spending that time doing the things that we love doing. Also sharing and awhiing other people feeds us, and doing mahi that aligns with our values, and having projects and purposes to work towards. What drains us? Clutter and chaos. Too much of stuff, too many expectations on us, too many responsibilities in mahi and at home, and also too much information at the moment, too much online. For us, we are people, and so by the end of the day, spending an entire day online can be exhausting. So those are the things that drain us, and I agree with you, Eruini. Auckland traffic, It's a bit stressful. And I don't know, I live in Thames. We don't have traffic lights and we don't pay for parking. So I don't know how people deal with the congestion every day. Yeah, it blows my mind. What sustains us? Positive relationships, being around people that are caring, feeling that our contributions are valued and that our mahi is making a difference. And also, of course, all of us love good kai and the positive impacts that it has. So bringing us together, being able to share, really does sustain us. Kia ora.
Love your kōrero, Louise. Love it. Especially that traffic lights and the traffic. I resonate with that in Kaitaia, just saying. Any other opu that would love to share some kōrero? Any other opu that thought they had some gems? If not, ka pai. Any last thoughts, Eruini? Whānanga me na ka horea?
Tēnā tātou. Ka mihi atu ki ngā kōrero, kua kōrero tia. Yeah, one notable mention from me, what feeds me, is definitely my relationship with the kararehe in my life. So really cool to see the kōrero shared around walking the kuri into the ngāhere. Yeah, our kararehe, our animals, our mokai, our pets, they live in cycles with nature. And they're a real example of how a being on planet Earth can tune into those cycles. So if you get an opportunity to spend time with your kararehe, with your animal, your pet bird, your cat, your kuri, just try and have a watch and an observation of them when they're in their natural state. What they're eating, what they're drinking, when they're resting, when they're active, and it helps to see a being in their natural state following those cycles, and it gives you a sense and an idea. And I'll just quickly share. So I had a beautiful kuri, and she lived for 13 years, and she taught me so many lessons about living in cycles with nature. And one of the lessons that she taught me was we're walking on the ngāhere one day. This is back when I was living in Tauranga Moana, and we're in the ngāhere reserve in Welcome Bay, and I had topped her water up, and she wasn't interested in the water from the tap. But as soon as we got into the bush area, there was a puddle of like some murky water. And she went straight to it, and she drank from it, and she was so happy, and she's licking her lips and so joyful. And I was really intrigued. I'm like, what? I tried to feed you fresh water, you didn't want it, and then you see that what I presumed was dirty water, muddy water in this core hole, in this hole in the ground. So I looked into that, and I found in my rangahau, in my research, that water was filled with nutrients. The breakdown from the leaves and the environment, it actually had ingredients in that water that would sustain her more. It had enzymes in the water that would bind to her cells, and she would become more hydrated. And that little lesson there taught me that I need to add enzymes to my drinking water, not to just drink straight water from the tap. So whether that's a sprinkle of lime or lemon, a mint leaf, something added to your whey that can actually be absorbed by the cells in your body. And that was something that my kuri taught me through my observations of her in her natural state of being. So ka mihi atu ki ngā kararehe I roto i o tātou whānau e āta whakaako I a mātou I roto I nei āhuatanga. And aroha mai hoa. And final whakaaro and reflections. So Matariki reminds us to live in rhythm, to reflect before acting, to align ourselves with natural cycles, and to invest our energy into what truly sustains us. And this is a skill. This is something that we need to train. This is a muscle that we need to activate actively. Because in a world that constantly demands more, Matariki offers us a different teaching. Longevity comes through balance, through awareness, and connection. No reira, Matariki ahunga nui. May Matariki bring us all abundance, not simply an abundance of resources, but an abundance of connection, of wisdom, and of well-being. Tēnā tātou.
Tēnā koe Eruini. Ko te reo whakamanawa te ki a koe mo I tuku I wai kōrero, wai whea ko hei kōrero tuku iho, hei kai mo te hiri kapo mo te hunga hia kai. Nō reira, e mihi ana ki a koe e kara. We acknowledge your presence this morning, and so we acknowledge you in the time that you're given this morning. So mihi ana ki a koe. I probably didn't mention this morning. I forgot to mention that Jackie, our illustrator, has been online all session, and we're going to give her an opportunity now just to give us a leisurely gaze of her illustration that she's done to the minute, just before we break off with the karakia and all of that. So just a moment.
Sharing it between my devices. Aroha mai. Okay.
So just in the meantime, as you're doing that, Jackie, I just thought also wanted to thank everyone for jumping online and sharing your feedback, throughout the session. But thank yous all. Woohoo! Look at that.
In progress.
Yeah, so it's a work in progress, everyone. This will be completed within the next 2 weeks, and it'll be available for everyone to pull from the website, Practice Foundation's website, Auckland CoLab, sorry. So yeah, mihi ana kia koutou. Just wanted to give you the opportunity as well to share any feedback on the session. Jot it down in the chat forum, chat area. What you liked, what you didn't like, and what wasn't helpful. What was helpful, please put that in the chat. Anyway, and just mention, if you're new on the Practice Foundations and would like to receive email invites for the session, please sign up via the Co-Design Labs website or by emailing the lab. Mihi ana kia koutou. Our next session for next month, we'll be welcoming our legendary Sasha McMeekin, who is will provide us with an amazing session with Sasha. Similar to last year, however, it'll be an updated version of it. So mihi ana kia koutou katoa ngā kai whakarongo, ki tā tātou wahi wānanga, mihi ana kia koutou ko whai wahi mai ki tā tātou kōrero. Tēnei au e mihi nei, tēnei tātou, e mihi nei kia tātou, mea wā koutou kōrero, wā koutou koha, tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou. Hei hihiri ake hei whakakapi aki tā tātou wānanga, kōrero tā tātou wānanga I te ata nei, ke hihiri ake tātou. Ko te tapu e ne kōrero ka whakairihi ki ngā pātu o tēnā whare, kia tīkina atu anoa I a tōna wā, kia turuturu uta, kia turuturu o tai, tuturu whakamaua, kia tēnā, haumi e, hui e, tai ki e. Tēnā rā koutou.